loneliness doesn't arrive with a bang. It creeps in slowly, often disguised as long work hours, shrinking friend circles, or busy family lives that leave little space for real connection. For men over 40, this hidden struggle is especially common. Society often teaches men to stay strong, to avoid showing vulnerability, and to focus on responsibilities rather than relationships. On the outside, life may look stable. On the inside, however, many men feel increasingly isolated. This silence is dangerous because loneliness doesn't just affect mood, it reshapes the body itself. Studies show that chronic loneliness increases stress hormones, weakens the immune system, and accelerates the aging process. What makes it truly invisible is that most men don't talk about it. They bury the discomfort, pretending everything is fine. But just like high blood pressure or poor diet, loneliness can quietly chip away at health until it shows up as something far more serious. The first step in understanding this invisible risk is acknowledging that it exists. Loneliness is not a personal failure, it's a human experience that demands attention. Loneliness is not just an emotion, it's a biological state. When the brain senses social disconnection, it triggers stress responses designed for survival. Cortisol, the stress hormone, rises. In small bursts, cortisol helps us respond to challenges. But in chronic loneliness, cortisol stays elevated, straining the heart, disrupting sleep, and suppressing testosterone. Over time, this constant alert mode leaves the body exhausted. The immune system weakens, making men more vulnerable to infections and slower recovery. Even inflammation increases, raising risks of conditions like diabetes and heart disease. Neurologically, loneliness rewires how we perceive the world, creating a feedback loop. Isolation fuels stress, stress fuels negative thinking, and negative thinking deepens isolation. For men over 40, already facing natural hormonal shifts and slower recovery, this biological burden hits even harder. The tragedy is that most men see fatigue, irritability, or poor health as just aging, never realizing that social disconnection may be the root. Science makes it clear, the body does not separate emotional pain from physical pain. Both leave scars. Human beings are wired for connection. From a biological perspective, friendship, family bonds, and even community involvement act like medicine. Social connection lowers cortisol, boosts oxytocin, the hormone of trust and bonding, and strengthens the heart. Men with strong social ties not only report higher happiness but also live significantly longer, according to decades of research. These relationships act as buffers against life's inevitable stresses, giving men support when careers shift, children grow, or health challenges arise. Simple interactions, like sharing a meal with friends or engaging in group activities, reinforce a sense of belonging. For men over 40, connection is not just nice to have, it's protective. It guards against depression, helps regulate hormones, and keeps the mind sharper as years progress. The most remarkable part? Building connections doesn't require massive networks. Even a handful of close, trusted relationships can drastically improve well-being. The act of being seen, heard, and valued reignites motivation and purpose. This is the opposite of the invisible risk, it's the visible strength of community. The decline in male friendships is rarely intentional. It begins with small shifts, career demands, parenting responsibilities, or relocations. Over time, casual friendships fade, replaced by professional acquaintances or distant check-ins. Culturally, men are less encouraged to maintain deep, emotionally vulnerable relationships. The result is that by midlife, many men find themselves with few genuine connections outside of family or work. Research shows that men are more likely than women to report having no close friends. This is not just a social issue, it's a health crisis. Without strong friendships, men lack outlets for stress and places to process emotions. They become more likely to rely on coping mechanisms like alcohol, overwork, or withdrawal. At 40, this pattern can accelerate health decline because the body is already more sensitive to stress. The good news is that awareness is rising. Many men are rediscovering the importance of rebuilding connections, whether through hobbies, volunteering, or simply reaching out to old friends. Friendship is not something lost forever, it can be relearned and rebuilt. One of the greatest barriers to male connection is the cultural script of masculinity. Men are often raised to equate strength with silence, independence with isolation, and vulnerability with weakness. Yet true strength lies in honesty. Being open about struggles, health concerns, or emotional needs creates the foundation for authentic relationships. Studies show that men who embrace vulnerability, sharing openly with trusted friends or partners, experience less stress and stronger social bonds. Vulnerability does not diminish masculinity, it deepens it. It allows men to lead richer lives, where connection is not superficial but rooted in trust. For men over 40, redefining masculinity means giving themselves permission to value relationships as much as achievements. It means seeing support not as dependency, but as resilience. By shifting perspective, men open the door to communities that nurture both health and purpose. Rebuilding social health doesn't require grand gestures, it begins with small, consistent steps. Start by reaching out to one friend you've lost touch with. Schedule regular meetups, even brief ones, to maintain momentum. Join a group, whether it's a fitness class, a book club, or a community project that aligns with your interests. Digital tools can help, but face-to-face interaction remains the most powerful. Volunteering also offers a unique pathway, combining purpose with social interaction. For men hesitant about vulnerability, structured activities provide safe spaces to build trust gradually. Over time, these efforts accumulate into stronger networks of support. The key is consistency. Social health is like physical health, requiring ongoing investment. For men over 40, who often juggle demanding schedules, the challenge is making connection a priority. But once it becomes a habit, the rewards ripple into every area of life: better mood, stronger health, and a renewed sense of belonging. The consequences of chronic loneliness stretch far into the future. Research has linked persistent isolation to increased risks of heart disease, stroke, type 2 diabetes, and even dementia. In fact, the health risks of loneliness are comparable to smoking 15 cigarettes a day. For men over 40, who already face rising health risks, ignoring social health is like ignoring diet or exercise. It quietly but powerfully shortens lifespan. Beyond physical disease, loneliness also erodes mental health, increasing chances of depression and cognitive decline. What makes this so dangerous is its invisibility. Unlike high cholesterol, loneliness doesn't show up on a blood test. It lingers in habits, in silence, in unspoken pain. The good news is that intervention works. Men who prioritize connection see measurable improvements in biomarkers like blood pressure, cortisol levels, and immune strength. Social health is not a soft topic, it's a medical necessity. The invisible risk of loneliness becomes visible only when men choose to confront it. Building a connected life means more than avoiding isolation, it means actively cultivating relationships that bring joy, support, and meaning. For men over 40, this requires intentionality. It may mean rearranging schedules to prioritize time with loved ones. It may mean seeking new communities, embracing vulnerability, or committing to shared activities that build bonds. The reward is not only emotional satisfaction but tangible health benefits: better energy, sharper focus, longer life expectancy. Most importantly, connection offers a renewed sense of purpose. Men who nurture relationships discover that aging is not a decline but an evolution, enriched by community. The blueprint for health after 40 cannot be complete without social connection at its core. Loneliness may be invisible, but its antidote, human connection, is within reach for every man willing to take the first step.